First set.
Will be the Swiss, who has won all 9 sets he's played so far here this week.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Players are ready.
It's a bid for a spot in the quarterfinals.
Ready. Play. 15 love.
You know, Nick, sometimes we say the matchup doesn't look good on paper, and this is also one that doesn't necessarily look good from a strategic stance as well, just because of the style of game that John Millman plays.
Left.
He's got rock solid groundies from both sides, but not a big weapon. He's not very offensive, doesn't take the ball early. You can see already the 2 second serve returns, he's backed up. So he's allowing Federer time, which whew, that could be awfully dangerous.
He's played some good ball on the dirt this season, as John Millman, having really previously and up until this season not really had too much experience on it. He's been playing German league in the summer as well for a club in Germany. Interesting. John was actually saying earlier in the summer that in some ways German league has actually kept his career afloat in the early days, because he's able to make, let's say, I don't know, 30, 40,000 euros for 4 or 5 matches in the summer, and that kept him going in previous years.
Wow, terrific shot there. Yeah, that German team tennis can be really fun and competitive, and as you said, you know, it can also pad the wallet a little bit, give these guys a little bit of a lifeline if things aren't going so well on the ATP World Tour.
Yeah, it's not going to be appearing on the career prize money numbers anytime soon, but it's invaluable for a lot of these guys.
And there's a top talent in that league. I mean, a lot of good players.
Oh, there we go.
And that's what Millman's got to do, right? He's not going to change his game plan. He's going to try to hope that Federer's a little bit off early. You know, generally, if you can be picky, you could say Federer is a bit of a slow starter at times.
Broken a couple of times by Benoit Paire, once by Nishioka. 3 times he's dropped serve this week.
But he does possess arguably the best spot serve in the history of the game. For me, obviously, in the conversation with Pete Sampras. Can't forget about Pistol Pete. And to me, people always ask about the longevity of Federer, and I think that's something that's always overlooked, is his serve. He serves incredibly well. He doesn't normally blow you off the radar gun with speed, but his percentage, his precision, his accuracy under pressure, top class.
Anything a little bit short, and you can be sure that he is going to look to capitalize.
First game.
Yeah, Ozzy was talking about the familiarity, of course, as he mentioned. John was actually, I think, invited, wasn't he, by Roger to go to Switzerland just before Wimbledon and hit a few balls for a few days.
Yeah, Roger does that a lot with some of the younger players as well. When they come on tour, he'll take them for a training block, whether it be in Dubai, whether it be in Switzerland. An invaluable experience for players like John Millman. I know he's used Mackie McDonald in the past. He's used a number of players.
He always does his off-season in December, generally in Dubai, the Middle East. The player's been asked to go over there as well.
I would assume you're afforded pretty good luxuries if you just say, I'm with Federer.
I'd say so.
So a great experience for some of these players.
I don't think you're going through the Airbnb website, are you there, Knowlesy? Too much?
No. And that's the danger, right? For Millman, not a big first serve. Pretty conservative on the serve, just going to look to try to get in a high percentage of first serves. But once the rally starts, you can see the pace that Federer can generate. And Lady Luck's on his side. Not a good sign for Millman.
Wasn't a bad serve either, was it?
Well placed.
He will hustle for everything, of that there's no doubt. So under a bit of early pressure on his own deal here. Well, Millman controlled the point, but ultimately he can't stop the break, and Federer out to a flyer.
Well, just seeing a little bit of why people flock to watch this man play. How he moves around the court so gracefully, can absorb the power when Millman had the advantage in the rally, and then as soon as he gets a strike, able to deliver.
You see the value of the slice there, don't you, out wide? His ability just to stay in the point and recover quickly out of the corner by just being able to use that slice backhand.
You're so right, Nick, with the slice backhand. A lot of players, the modern day players, they don't understand the value of the slice. Not only does it change the pace, but just as you said, it gives you time to get back and recover, to get in position.
Three of 9 first serves so far.
And I mentioned that Millman would have probably preferred to have this in the day. I think that was a big factor in his second round victory over Fabio Fognini. They played in those hot, oppressive conditions, and Fognini wasn't up to it.
Yep.
Millman was able to battle past him in 4 sets.
In terms of ranking, that was the best win of Millman's career. Oh, that's wonderful.
30-15.
Nice movement here from Millman. Great skill with the angle pass off the two-hander.
Good use of the left arm there, wasn't it? Just to get the ball turning over. Oh!
Wow.
40-15.
A remarkable shot. Millman's done everything right here.
I was about to comment, what a get by Millman. And it was overshadowed by the terrific backhand stab volley from Federer.
Could be an entertaining hour and a half coming up here if the opening 3 games is anything to go by.
Again, Federer.
Well, we've seen a vast array of his skill set so far. Federer in charge early doors. 3-love to the good. 44th President of the United States in the house. I suspect if there was a fair few in this arena that might vote for the man in red as president if they had an opportunity. Wasn't there a vote in Switzerland about 4 or 5 years ago? And quite a few people rubbed it out. 42nd. I should correct myself. Scrub up on that American history nozzle.
And there he is, enjoying the tennis tonight. Watching the great Roger Federer play. Even the president is in amazement. I think one thing you should pay attention to that I like that Federer's starting to do when he has a comfortable matchup like this, we've seen him make some approaches to the net early, right? He's not going to stay out here and play longer than he needs to. Trying to shorten points, conserve energy. We know what's on the menu if he gets past this. A date with Novak Djokovic where he'll need all his reserves.
Just asking Alison Hughes for a bit of confirmation there.
15-13.
Nice serve there from Millman. A little bit more pace. 121 miles an hour at the body.
Recently switched coaches. There's John. You were telling me a new man on board in the last few weeks. I was traveling with Mark Draper for a while. Didn't see that one coming.
Unconventional for most, but not for Roger Federer. Millman expecting a chip in charge here. Federer goes with the drop shot in charge. Yeah, Millman's been working with Jonas Luton, who played at Ole Miss, actually. Been working together since Eastbourne.
I think he just gave Jonas the look there just to say, was that on the menu, that shot? Did we talk about that one?
Yeah, not very easy to scout for Roger Federer because you can have a game plan. You can have a lot of things. I remember last year I was coaching Milos Raonic. Milos had to play him in the quarters of Wimbledon, so I just spent 3 days video scouting. But he can still defy any knowledge that you think you have.
And after those 3 days, Nosey, what did you conclude?
You know, I came up with some patterns actually that Roger likes to do. He prefers to serve wide in the ad side for sure, but the problem is he can hit every other serve if he wants to, if the situation warrants it. So it's very difficult. You can have a strategy, but you need to have a plan B and C against Federer because he can make the adjustments. He likes to pass up the line on grass when he's stretched on the backhand side.
Good stuff from the Australian. He's actually made a very good start to this match. And he's got his reward from it.
You know, most guys that you can scout, they really only have a plan A, maybe a B. Federer's got, you know, down to F maybe.
A reminder, usopen.org is your online home to watch or listen to matches in real time. Follow match scores with near live highlights. Dig deeper into the key stats and more. Visit usopen.org. Federer. And a wind tour in there as well. Mum and Dad, who so often travel, of course.
Do you think the parents are impressed by their son, Roger Federer, or has it just become old hat?
He'll be such a nice guy, isn't he? A chance to speak to him. Very humble family. Discussing that with John Millman, but it's how Federer was brought up, isn't it? So we see Severin Luthi. He's a guy who's on the road consistently with Federer. If anyone knows Roger, it's Severin.
15-13.
And also we saw Ivan Lubicic in the picture, the two-pronged coaching attack. I give Lubicic a lot of credit as well, because it seemed like once Roger took that break with the injury and he was working with Lubicic, when he came back in Australia last year, started really having confidence in hitting over that backhand. I'm not sure if that was, Ivan's doing, but it coincided, so I'm going to give him credit for it. And maybe the fact that Roger really respects Lubicic, he had a terrific career, really took it to heart, possibly.
Well, first serves have been a little hard to come by, but he's made 2 in a row here.
40-13.
Himself out of some trouble.
Game Federer.
And he can make that a hat-trick. Millman having a long look at the line. He's not 100% sure that Federer
leads 4 games to
is
1
further in front
for sets.
in this opening set. He's off to a good start.
Nice job there from Millman. You could see Federer just moving ever so slightly to his left, possibly thinking about running around his backhand, hitting a forehand. Millman keeping him honest by sliding that second serve out wide in the deuce court.
Big family, does John Millman. He's got 4 sisters back home in Brisbane.
40 love.
His dad actually was a good soccer player back in the day. He was a physical education teacher. He talked a lot about how mum and dad pretty much gave them every opportunity as a family. Work ethic instilled in him as a youngster.
Well, you have to like the way that Millman goes about his business. In an era all of a sudden where the Aussies maybe don't put forth full effort, as we've seen with Kyrgios, Tomic. A guy like Millman, who is the consummate professional, finding his moment out here on Arthur Ashe Stadium tonight.
Distinctly possible as well, if he has a good autumn or fall period, that he could be seeded for the Aussie Open. I mean, he's not that far away now. That was a heck of a return, wasn't it? Just took Millman out of his comfort zone.
It's that block return. It's such a good return because it's short but low, so your opponent has to move forward, but they can't get enough pace on it to establish a good position at the net. And Roger has a few options on the pass.
Obviously a premium on length tonight, isn't there, for Millman? Just feel him there, just desperately trying to keep the ball to a good length. So
yeah, because he doesn't have the weight of shot, so you're so right. He's going to need the depth, otherwise Federer's going to be able to step in and completely dictate on his terms. You can see this is one of those matches where Federer's hitting maybe shots he wouldn't normally hit in a tighter, more tense contest, but he's bringing out the full arsenal tonight, trying some variety. We've seen him be successful with the drop shot on the second serve return. Not on that occasion.
made it.
Challenge on the call on the right.
Federer doesn't think so.
The ball was called in.
Sometimes the surface leaves a bit of a mark, and you'd have to think by Federer's reaction here, he saw it just wide. Let's see if he was correct. And he was not.
Millman.
A little smile from Millman. That was a heck of a shot.
Game.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Break point saved in the game. Millman forcing a couple of errors.
First set.
Closes the gap.
Federer has 2 challenges remaining.
Millman actually practiced prior to the tournament on this stadium court in Arthur Ashe with Andy Murray. Just to get a little feel for things. He said himself he wasn't 100% sure he was going to play on it, but he's got his opportunity.
Love 15.
Couple of double faults for Federer's standard early here in this match. His 3rd one of the evening.
His first serve percentage. Currently sitting in a very low 35%.
That's really incredible. I don't recall the last time I've seen his first serve percentage so low.
He averages around the mid-60s, doesn't he? Over the course of a season. Very rarely wavers from that number too much.
30-15.
Good news is when he's made the first serve, he's 9 from 9.
Nice job there from Millman, because Federer was dictating play with the forehand. Pretty to watch him really stretch the court and move the ball around, but Millman holds his ground, absorbs the power nicely.
It was the forehand that was off in the final of Cincinnati. It's undeniable. Definitely was struggling with that wing a little bit. I think it's fair to say against Kevin Anderson of Wimbledon as well. That was the wing that was just making a few errors. It's all relative, of course. But mistakes off that side. Having to work relatively hard to hold, but another one in the bag as he closes in on set number 1, 5-2. The Australian John Millman out here has acquitted himself impressively so far. Class act he is, serving 2-5. Variety of opposition over the week number 1 Federer, isn't he, when you consider who he's played. Nishioka, who lefty, awkward lefty, bit of a shot maker, sort of semi/grinder. Benoit Paire, who's provides everything, and Nick Kyrgios, who can take the racket out of your hand. He's had all sorts of different opposition to deal with.
Well, it would have been really interesting. You're talking about 2 of the more mercurial guys when you talk about Benoit Paire and Kyrgios. If Millman hadn't have beaten Fognini, he would have played 3 of the most charismatic guys we have on tour in a row.
That's a good shout.
Federer leads 5 games to 3.
Interesting when you watch
First
John,
set.
because one of the things he does well, if you agree, Noz, it gets behind the ball so well, doesn't he? And again, it comes down to his movement.
Yeah, he moves so well. He gives him a chance to be balanced by getting behind the ball, which is such an important part of the game. Something this man does as well as anybody. You don't see how balanced he is all the time, because he makes it look so easy. You know, I think it's probably the most important facet of the game, because you're constantly in motion. If you can be balanced as much as possible, you look at the top players. We talk about Federer here, Novak Djokovic, extreme balance, especially on the return of serve. You know, even Rafa, even though he has those long strokes and maybe some awkward finishes, if you look at his body at impact, very good balance.
Yeah, Mark Kovacs is one of the most widely respected sports tennis biomechanics out there, and I listened to some good stuff from him over the last few years. He talks a lot about that and how the strength initially in this sport in many ways comes from your ankles and your calves, because they're the first part of the body that actually takes the pressure. So, you know, when you're landing on a court, they've got to be very, very strong, because you've got to be able to push off on that part of the body. It comes up through the body from your ankles upwards.
Oh, it's funny you say that, Nick. I played similar time as Pete Sampras. And Pete used to be a fairly scrawny kid growing up in the juniors, but that was the thing he worked on the most when he turned professional. Got his legs very strong, worked on balance, and boy, did he use the lower half, especially on the serve, but also in his explosive movement out to that forehand, one of the best running forehands we've ever seen. Everything starts with the lower half in tennis. Such an important component.
It was a rare error in that part of the court from Federer. Had plenty of time. Here's a second set point.
Even though Federer missed that volley, that's what I love about Federer. You can see that Millman, midway through that point, was so far back. Federer, rather than waiting for the ball, cut off the angle, hit the forehand early, got himself in position, just misfired on the drop volley there.
Back to Deuce. Not for long.
Advantage.
It's number
Federer.
4. Federer. Third set point. Yeah, it was good scrambling. It was a good set in truth from both. Millman just bite into that early break, suffering. 6-3 Federer takes the open. So set number 2 here under the lights at the Arthur Ashe Stadium. What was John Millman telling himself after that opening set? Pretty pleased?
Yeah, I think he has to be proud of his effort. Initially broken in his first service game, but really made Roger Federer earn that first set.
love.
You could really see how you wouldn't want to play Millman in oppressive conditions. Hot, humid weather that we've had at the U.S. Open this year. Very difficult opponent in the daytime. Very fit, will run all day.
30 love.
It's interesting because he made the final in Budapest, you know, right at the start of the clay court season, and he'd never won a match on clay prior to that at the highest level prior to that week, but ended up losing to Marco Cecchinato in the final. He's had a pretty good summer.
Yeah, he turned out to be pretty good on clay.
Yeah. Looking quite so rough, that loss, is it? Unfortunate as well, because he actually had to play the semi-final the same morning did John. Well, the third set of it anyway, which didn't help his cause.
Game, second sets.
So that's a good start to the second.
Well, it also speaks to the depth of the men's game. Also have it in the women's game. But especially in the men's game, you can see guys when they get fit, when they get healthy, and a little bit of confidence, they can play really well. And as you mentioned, Millman not coming in here with a ton of results per se. Had to retire in Cincinnati because of the back injury. Lost in Winston-Salem, but he felt like when he was here a couple days before the tournament, got healthy, started to feel good, won a match. Then you beat somebody like Fognini, and then all of a sudden confidence is there, and the work you put in really starts to pay off.
Very humid again this evening. Just wonder if Millman looks as though he just kind of lost the grip a little bit there.
I was watching that match last night between Coric and Del Potro. Coric, I've never seen anyone sweat like that. As he was serving, he literally had a pool of water around him, and that was, I think it was just in the second set, so he'd been playing for about an hour. Almost needed a towel in between points.
It was 80% humidity, wasn't it? Upwards.
The ball was called in.
Good challenge.
And if you're not sure about the humidity, just look at Roger Federer. We're used to seeing him not sweat, right? He actually looks like he's working.
Those pores are open.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen too often. Don't often see Federer look a little indecisive, but there's a case there.
And these are moments you have to look for if you're Millman, right? Just a little bit of complacency coming from Roger Federer. That was not a well-chosen shot there from Federer.
He's got him. The volley was an awkward one. He just couldn't really make enough room, could he, for the volley?
Yeah, the volley was basically straight up the middle, didn't generate enough angle to make Millman uncomfortable. You can see he was behind that ball quickly. And great reaction from the Aussie.
Oh.
Wow. I'd have to say Millman won that point at least 3 times, it seemed like.
Deuce.
Tremendous stuff from both. Millman having to cover a heck of a lot of ground as well.
That forehand right there, creating the angle alongside the pace. Special stuff from Federer.
Longest rally of the match so far. Might be the longest all in as well. Well, he didn't disguise it as well as he will have wanted to.
Advantage, Millman.
Millman saw it coming.
As we mentioned, Millman happy to run all night if he has to. Very fit player. This set getting off to a bit of a similar start for Federer on serve. He's only landed a couple of first serves so far. 25% first serve percentage in this opening service game for him. Forcing him to play a lot of extended rallies.
Here's another. Oh, messing around with that first volley though.
Advantage, Federer.
Great racket control here on the volley. It's the inside of that ball, so it goes away from Millman. Nice technique.
Well, it's 0 from 2 in this game off that shot.
Deuce.
When this shot is not effective, that's when they say you're better off leaving it in the closet. So far, the backhand drop shot not working for Federer.
Advantage, Millman.
You have to really credit Millman. He's making Federer work really hard here. Millman's had his opportunities, third break point of this game, but he's not getting discouraged.
Yeah, it just feels like he's frustrating him a bit, doesn't it, at the moment?
Thank you.
Yeah, just a little ill-discipline. Here's another break point.
Fault.
And another second serve. Federer super lucky there because he did not do anything with that forehand volley. That was an ordinary forehand volley. Gave Millman a look at the forehand pass.
Look at that number. It's just unheard of. That was a big miss, wasn't it, as well? Way long.
Advantage, Millman.
And you almost feel like for Millman, this is a must-win game, right? Federer clearly struggling, can't find the box on the first serve. If Millman can somehow forge ahead here with a break, get ahead in the scoreboard, give him a lot of confidence. just a little bit surprised that Millman hasn't learned quickly in this game. Federer has not made a first serve, as we mentioned. That's 3 times in a row, break point second serve, he's served and volleyed. Maybe stand up on the baseline, assume that he's going to do it again, take it early. Don't allow Roger to establish his position at the net. I mean, you can see where Federer is when he makes contact with that first volley. He's about 3 to 5 feet from the net, well inside the service line. Millman has to make the adjustment there. Federer's made 2 out of 15 first serves in this game. 2 out of 15. Not sure I've ever seen that. Make that 2 for 60. And look where Millman was for the return. He moved up on the baseline. Even though Federer didn't serve and volley on that occasion, it was effective.
Yeah, that was the irony, wasn't it? Complete role reversal in that point. This game goes on. Most reliable shots in the sport over the last 15 years is not there for him at the moment. And he's not going to get away with that either.
And that's the benefit there if you take the return early when your opponent's serving and volleying. They don't really get a chance to set their feet. Federer didn't get enough on the first volley. And there you can see Millman lining up that forehand pass.
Opportunity for the 29-year-old.
On that occasion, Millman doing the right thing, was up in the court, but Federer making the quick adjustment. Short kick that got up high and really got out there above the shoulders of Millman.
You could just see Millman imitate that, couldn't you, as well? That ball just getting out of his strike zone. Not easy. Big question is, what on earth is happening to Roger's serve here?
I've never seen this in my whole life. 2 out of 19, I would have bet all the money in the world that I could get from anyone.
Advantage.
And even the crowd are starting to hear it, because when he missed that first serve, you could just hear a little murmur from the crowd. They know that he's not feeling it.
We haven't been keeping track, but it's been about 9 or 10 in a row as well. You know, of course, 2 for 19.
Thank you. Players ready.
You have to think that Millman, having a few words with his box, tried to step into the court there, but just heavy kick. Incredible that Federer can still come up with such great second serves, even though he can't find a first serve.
Advantage. Millman. Ladies and gentlemen, as a courtesy of both players, please remain quiet. Thank you. It's very distracting to the players. Thank you.
And you can tell Federer's a little irritable here. Up a set, saying something to the chair umpire. If the crowd could just be quiet during play, not something you normally see from Roger Federer.
That was a tremendous forehand. Nothing wrong with the return. Off the back foot, creating an angle, really, it wasn't there.
Millman is challenging the call, right serve. The ball was called in.
Chase review.
Advantage, Federer.
It's a review. That doesn't go Millman's way.
Millman has 2 challenges remaining.
Finally gets through the game. There can't have been too many service games that have been that long in Federer's career, certainly here in New York. It was a lengthy one. It's a game apiece.
There's a look at Steve Kerr, coach of the Golden State Warriors. Well, it makes us think of basketball, right? The great shooters, Kobe Bryant, they continue to shoot even when they're missing. They trust their shot. Roger Federer trusts his second serve when the first serve is not going into play.
15 love.
The ability to fight off all those break points. That has to be one of the worst serving stretches I've ever seen from Roger Federer. If you would have told me out of 22 serves he'd miss 20 of them, no chance. Maybe if he was blindfolded, and I still probably would bet against it. Third time's a charm. That's the third time we've seen him use that backhand drop shot. Hadn't worked the first 2 times, but on that occasion, beautiful.
It's a little tougher for Millman because he had to get the ball up and down quickly there, didn't he? Federer just got the ball below the height of the net. Squeezed the space a little as well. Thankfully here at the US Open at the top tier, the ushers actually let the people in regardless of whether it's a change of ends, which is a good thing for these 2 games because we've been almost 15 minutes. What a hustle from the Aussie.
It's a shame Millman's not trying.
15-14.
I mean, he extended the points. That get right there was terrific. But just too much firepower in the end from Roger Federer.
Heck of a hustle. And sadly, from Millman's perspective, it's 2 break points.
Had the shot he wanted. The forehand set it up. Great width on that forehand allowed him to step into that backhand with some open court, but not able to get enough cover and shape on the ball.
You feel like he's gone to the slice a little more, isn't he, in this game? Just to ask Millman to produce a bit of his own pace. He's able to do so well there.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot there from Millman. You have to be very confident in your game on that shot. You have to pull the trigger early, not have any doubts, second guess yourself. You got to pick your spot and accelerate, and that's exactly what Millman does.
Federer is challenging the ball. Left center serve. The ball was called in.
Really is a beautiful shot when Federer stepping into the court and driving that backhand. Right there, that is a beautiful shot. You can see a little bit of spin on it to really stretch the court. Millman's thinking, what do I got to do? Game point, Federer plays such great points.
Excellent serve. Caught Federer slightly off balance for once.
Yeah, his nice disguise on that ball toss, a little bit behind his head. So Federer expecting the kick serve, but Millman able to slide it out wide.
John just got distracted by someone in the crowd there, and he didn't have enough tennis balls. That's really impressive stuff from the Queenslander, who gets ahead again in this second set. What a couple of games, 2-1. So, John Millman continuing to impress out here. I guess we expected nothing less from the man who's had such a brilliant year. 18 minutes of those previous two games. And we've hit the hour mark out here. Federer serving 1-2.
15 love.
Just asking himself to dip the ball a little more. Couldn't quite do that, and made the volley a relatively simple one.
Well, it was an excellent job by Millman in that previous game, because you wondered, after not being able to secure some of those break points, would there be a little bit of a letdown, but kept the intensity up. We'll look at Millman's coach.
Game.
Johan Luton played at Ole Miss. Been helping Millman for the last few months.
He's a big Liverpool Football Club fan, is John.
And he likes his Brisbane AFL team, right?
Yeah.
You familiar with those AFL teams?
Not really, no. Got to be honest, that's bypassed me. Reminder, you can download the US Open app for all the latest scores, stats, match highlights, player news, celebrity sightings, and plenty more. usopen.org.
That's a nice play there from Federer. Did an excellent job with the forehand volley, meeting it up front. Nice firm wrist, staying low through the hitting zone.
Better execution. Also had a bit of spin in it that was moving away from Millman, so that was double trouble.
He's used the slice so well, and great disguise there on the drop shot. tough to anticipate. Nick, I spoke with Millman right before the match, and we were talking about a few things. Actually, a huge NFL fan, which was surprising to me, being from Australia. Really likes the Minnesota Vikings, but the biggest thing on his mind was not Roger Federer. He said he's got a 7 a.m. NFL fantasy football draft, and he's got the number 2 pick.
Wow. Now, remind me when the NFL season kicks off?
Thursday.
Okay.
40-13.
It was the Eagles, wasn't it, the one last year?
Yeah.
Excuse my ignorance.
I'm impressed that you knew that.
Don't get too much of that across the pond, you know.
Better than my English football knowledge, that's for sure.
Well, I can tell you that Liverpool are top of the league, so he's winning on all fronts at the moment.
Right. That's beautiful there from Federer.
Juice.
Nothing wrong with the serve here. Good location, but just spot on there from Federer.
Look up there, wasn't there, towards his team. It's definitely a little edgy tonight, Federer.
Advantage Federer.
Djokovic matches somewhere in his head, Knowlesy, just a little bit. Obviously, he has great respect for John Millman, no doubt about that. But with Djokovic having already gone through, is that somewhere in his head, just a little bit?
100% agree with you. Listen, I think we've seen a little bit of anxious moments from Federer tonight. We heard him even reference to the chair umpire about the crowd, something you never hear in a fairly ordinary match, having won the first set. He looks a little bit frustrated out there. It's easy now that Novak's already through. Of course, he's got to finish his job here with Millman, but for sure his thoughts are already shifting to that matchup against Novak, possibly.
Quite sensational. What a change up from Federer mid-rally.
Advantage Federer.
Oh, just remarkable. An array of power from Federer, and then pure finesse on the drop shot to be able to change gears so quickly. That's like going from 5th gear to 1st gear. And terrific hustle once again from Millman.
Second break point in this game.
That's good stuff. You know, I think what also leads to some of the anxiousness is the fact that we talked about Federer hasn't won here in 10 years. It's those 2 semifinal losses to Djokovic that really stick out. Had some match points squandered. You know, there's some tension that goes with that great rivalry. A little bit of scar tissue from the US Open for Roger.
Advantage Federer.
Been so disciplined with his shot selection. It's something he bases his game around, but you can see his frustration there. He annoyed that he took the one on up the line when the big target was gaping cross court. It's not been a great evening for that particular statistic. There is a second break of the match. It's a second break of the Millman serve. And Federer forges ahead. 3-2 in the second. So a break of serve for the former champion here. Closing in on Jimmy Connors on a number of fronts in terms of match wins and titles. Federer, it's not too far away from JC.
What's your thought on that? 109 is the number. You think he
titles? Yeah.
Yeah. You think he has a chance to get there? Jimmy Connors' record I'm referring to.
I think that one might be just a little too far. I think match wins. I mean, match wins. You look where he is match wins. I think he's, what is he, 80, something like that away.
Yeah, I like his chances on that one.
88, in fact, he is match wins away from Connors' all-time record.
It's going to be close, actually.
Love 15.
You got to figure in a good season, would get about 40 to 50 match wins.
Yeah, it's half century, isn't it, around that mark?
So, you know, maybe another good year and a half. It's going to be close.
It is.
It'll be exciting to follow.
Doesn't need a whole lot of extra motivation, does he? But I wonder if he starts, you know, we're 12 months down the line here and he's, say, 40 away when he's thinking about it, whether how much that is in his head.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting question, because to me, I think his sole motivation has been the Grand Slams, of course. But that's an incredible record, obviously, to be so close. How long does that motivate him, even if he's not having Grand Slam success?
Good stuff. Yeah, the titles, as Knowlesy said, 98 Federer's on. Jimmy Connors ended his career with 109. Fairly certain that Connors won his last major at 31, though. So obviously, it's a different conversation when we're talking about Federer still winning majors at 36, because Connors went on to win more titles so far.
30.
Well, we definitely aren't going to count this man out. You know, talk about perseverance. There was 5 years where Federer did not win a Grand Slam. Most of us, or a lot of us, had thought maybe his best years were behind him. Then he showed up at the start of 2017, and
it's funny because every time he mentions the R word in any context, as finalist since I think he said it in his post-match press conference, just a throwaway comment. Literally, the social media and the scribes are all over it. They're like,
yeah,
what's going on?
40-13.
As we say, no sign anytime soon that's happening.
Well, he's definitely pushed the limits. That I don't think we've quite seen it. Obviously, Connors had that historic run at the U.S. Open. I believe he was 40 years of age, but that was kind of just a one-off. Federer's doing it week in, week out. 37 now, not 40 quite yet, but still to be dominating like he is. Obviously, he picks his schedule. Doesn't play on the clay anymore.
And the key, isn't it, Knowlesy, ultimately is at 37. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you're getting as much enjoyment out of winning as he is and competing, it's just a number. That's your body holds up. It's just a number, right?
Yeah, and he's one of those rare athletes, you know, not only does he love winning and competing, but he actually enjoys the locker room. And it speaks a lot for this man, Roger Federer. Talk about a very humble champion, treats everybody with the utmost respect, really enjoys the locker room. And you can look at Stan Smith, one of the greats.
Love 15.
Smith, who of course the famous trainers were
15 on.
named after, weren't they?
Won the U.S. Open back in 1971.
Good knowledge.
15.
Also remains a fact, of course, in the 1,300 odd matches Federer has played, he's still yet to retire from one, which is even more staggering.
That is crazy to believe. And this is the artistry you get when you get an opportunity to watch Roger Federer play. Such an array of shots.
So a lot of credit must go to Pierre Paganini, as a guy who looks after him physically. Never see the work he's doing off court, but it's I'm led to believe it's plentiful.
Makes me think back. David Ferrer retired in the first round here against Rafael Nadal. Was that the first time that he had ever retired in a Grand Slam match? I believe it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, you think about Federer never having retired in a match on the ATP World Tour is crazy.
So Millman reduces the gap. Continues to impress out here, but it's a set and a break for the Swiss. An attendance record for Labor Day weekend. Over the course of the last 3 days, 199,187 people have come through the gates. Saturday, Sunday and Monday combined. What a healthy statistic that is, and that's a pretty healthy looking forehand to go with it. We have had some great numbers of people. They've come in swathes over the course of week number 1. Of course, this event's done a brilliant job in upgrading facilities.
Quite remarkable when you think about it and you look around the grounds, the stadiums. Just fascinating place to watch tennis. In such a short period, I think I retired in 2012, which was less than 6 years ago, and this place looks completely different to when I played. When you look at Louis Armstrong, you look at the grandstand court, even the outer courts. I went out to court 7 today. It has like a new little kind of stadium, makes it a little bit more intimate. Beautiful job.
Oh, tremendous ingenuity from Federer there.
30-15.
He's continued to use the drop shot, and it's been a smart play because of Millman's court positioning. I mentioned at the start of the match he likes to be further back. And so Federer very aware of that, mixing in the drop shots.
First serve.
Federer's first serve percentage, I hate to harp on with about it, but it still sits overall 41%.
40-15.
Yeah, it's still hard to believe, really. You mentioned his average is probably north of 60%. For the year. You don't see him down that low very often.
It's a brilliant bit of skill again. The lob was weighted so well.
Federer leads 5 games to 3 second set.
He's a game away from a 2-set lead. He's won more matches than any other player, male player in this stadium, is Federer. Played more than any as well.
15. Let. Second serve.
Federer's first serve percentage on the year in actuality is 62%. So you were right, Nick, north of 60%. Well below that tonight at 42%.
Oh, it's a stunner.
30 love.
Millman unable to break serve so far tonight. 0 for 8 on break points. Federer has a 67% success ratio on saving break points. Speaks to two things: how well he serves under pressure, and also how well he plays those points. Fans trying to get a little bit of airflow. Still quite humid out. Sticky conditions, not just for the players, but also the fans.
40-15.
A little bit of bite off that slice return. On the cusp of another hold.
Game Millman.
And that's exactly what he gets. He remains in the rear-view mirror in this second set.
Federer leads 5.
And Federer will serve for a 2-set lead.
1 set to love.
A handful of seats available this evening inside the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Of course, the biggest in the world, the biggest tennis arena in the world, with Federer inside serving for a 2-set lead.
He's had to employ that serve and volley tactic on the second serve often because of his inefficiency with the first serve this evening.
Just got a little out of position off the return. It wasn't a bad return, but left a little too much court open.
Nice job there from Millman on the second serve return, dipping it down low cross court, making for a difficult half volley for Roger Federer.
Had he been able to convert on those break points earlier in the set, it might have been a different story here, but still threatening.
That's a beautiful serve from Federer. One of the most difficult serves to read. He has that ball toss where he can hit a few different serves off the same ball toss. Great upper body balance when he serves, especially at contact.
Wonderful control of the ball. Didn't have a whole lot of time to weigh it up, did he? And he finds a way. And here are a couple of set points.
Federer thought that the return was going in the net. You don't see that very often. So at the last second, he just snatched at that ball.
has made that little bit of an adjustment that you were talking about, Mark, and it's actually served him pretty well.
Yeah, it's been much better for him when he stands up on the baseline, because Federer was starting to serve and volley almost every time on the second serve, realizing how far back Millman was. Stepping up on the baseline, the return just takes away a little time from the server.
Advantage, Millman.
Well, he's had 8 chances to break in this match as John Millman. And he has failed so far to make any of them count.
And Federer making the mistake there on the volley. It wasn't the volley necessarily. He didn't split step. He ran right through the volley, so he didn't have the balance to go through it.
Please.
He'd be lucky number 9.
Interesting. Federer was going to go to the forehand with that second serve. He's pretty much gone kick almost every time. What does he do now?
Game, Millman.
Millman gets a break for the very first time,
Games all second serve.
and we're level at 5s.
He does the unthinkable, a double fault on breakpoint, something Roger Federer rarely, if ever, does. And credit to Millman, he's really played well this set. He almost deserves to be at least on level terms. And here we are, 5-all.
Love 15.
You know, it's interesting. We talk about the mouth-watering matchup possibly in the next round. When you look at the way Millman's covering the court, absorbing power, of course, he's not maybe at Novak Djokovic's level, but as you mentioned, how much is that going through Federer's mind? How do I pick apart the court? What's my strategy possibly against Novak if I were to play him?
That's tremendous hitting.
Obviously, every opponent is different, but
15-all.
you do look for some parallels at times.
Yeah, there are parallels, aren't there, as you say?
Yep. Especially that shot right there. Novak hits that shot really well. The two-handed backhand up the line.
That's big. 122 from Millman's perspective. He's amped right now.
Well, I asked Millman if this match went really well tonight or really long. You'd have to miss that fantasy football draft in the morning. He said, absolutely not. I can't miss it. So he keeps turning this match around. Trust me. He'll find somebody to draft for him.
I was going to say. Yeah, that last 8 club's a pretty nice one to be a part of, aside from actually beating Federer on one of the biggest stages in sport. That's also the incentive this evening. You've got membership of all 4, Nosey?
I do.
Of course you have. It's a nice club to be a part of, I'd imagine.
Game, Millman.
Wow, wow, wow. John Millman wins back-to-back games. Federer looking a little ragged at 6-5 for the Aussie. Pressure then on the 5-time former champion here. Having been broken in his previous service game. Must hold here to stay in set number 2. Casting aspersions, but I mean, with the first serve percentage being as low as it is, you do just wonder if the back's okay, don't you? I mean, obviously, the obvious assertion would be it's just not serving well tonight, but if you're looking for a reason why, I mean, that could possibly be something to do with it, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe not, but...
He hasn't shown anything.
No.
But you're right. I mean, rarely have we seen him serve at this level.
15 all.
I mean, he's never been a guy ever to, as we mentioned, throughout many injuries, but even when he has, he's never kind of gone to feeling anything, or he's never done anything
he'd never
away.
show you. Yeah,
no.
He would never show you. But the reason I think possibly not is he's been fine on the second serve. He's done a good job of hitting his spots, some variety. I think his timing is just really off on the first serve. And it's forced him to take a little bit more risk.
15.
You know, 15 all, serving 5-6. He still has the ability to serve and volley.
It was an excellent first volley. Clean as you like on the forehand as well to go with it. Slightly short return, and there's no change from it. Strange shot that was. The ball was up high. It was not the easiest drop shot to execute, even for someone like Federer. Missed by a whole lot, to be fair. Made it.
Advantage.
It was an exceptional return. A great stab volley from Federer. And a very nice passing shot on the run. Good use of the left hand with the outside of that ball. Nice angle.
Set point for John Millman here.
Please, players are waiting. Thank you.
John Millman takes the second set here on the Arthur Ashe Stadium. He breaks Federer for a second time in a row, and the Aussie is all square. It's a set apiece. So the first set that Federer has lost at these championships. We have 7 men, through to the last 8. There's one spot up for grabs. 7 seeds have made their way through.
And what a lineup it is in the quarterfinals. A lot of big names, all playing with supreme confidence right now.
Any seat for now, thank you.
Tomorrow's fair on the men's side of things. John Isner against Juan Martín del Potro, and Dominic Thiem against Rafael Nadal.
Any seat for now, thank you.
Set number 3 then. John Millman just held up by a few people moving behind Federer there. It'll be the Australian to get this third set going. And Millman had 17 winners in set number 2, just 5 in set number 1.
So obviously he changed tactics a little bit because that's a high number. We talked about normally a conservative player, happy to run a lot, just get a lot of balls back. But he upped the tempo a little bit, realizing that he was up against Federer. That's a beautiful backhand there. That's the shot that Roger Federer has really come back with a vengeance, starting at the Australian Open in 2017. He's hit over that one-hander so much more consistently and with a lot of precision.
31.
Too aggressive there. Shake of the head. Giving Federer an early chance to break in this third set.
What a backhand mid-rally from Millman. Federer was on the offense with the forehand. Had Millman stretched off the court, he was able to neutralize with a beautiful two-hander up the line.
Advantage Millman.
Coaching business is easy, isn't it? Been in the job for 8 weeks. Well, he didn't get hold of the drive volley. He was desperate to take it out of the air. And that is a great hold at the start of this third set.
Good example of the defense from Millman. It was a nice return from Federer, the big forehand, but Millman was just able to scrap it back and put it in an awkward position to the incoming Federer. And Federer's actually having to problem solve a little bit out here. In that last return game, choosing to run around and start to hit some forehands on the second serve. So he's having to make subtle adjustments here to see if he can forge ahead in this match.
15 all.
Yeah, we continue to speculate a little bit about the health possibly of Roger Federer. He's one of those players that never shows anything.
Nope.
So you never do know. He never makes excuses. But definitely suffering on the first serve percentage tonight. And maybe you could make an argument that playing a little more aggressive than normal, trying to keep the points short,
I think
is that strategy, or is that because of maybe some health concerns?
Take nothing away from John Millman, though, who is producing time after time out here.
I mentioned Millman will run all day and all night. You can see the physical condition that the Australian is in. Wow, touch of class.
30 all.
And you can see Millman just acknowledging, yep, that's right, I'm playing Roger Federer. Anyone else I might have said, how did you make that? But Federer able to come up with an incredible half volley, down 15-30. And I'd have to say Federer didn't show any signs of anything against Nick Kyrgios. At least I didn't see it. So once again, just speculating.
I guess the only thing you'd say about that is that it's a completely different matchup, isn't it? I mean, you're talking about the antithesis of an opponent going from one extreme to another with Millman and Kyrgios. As you say, Nosey. Certainly wasn't a physical match against Nick, was it? Never going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And Millman's done an excellent job of making this a physical match in case there is an issue with Roger Federer. Maybe it will expose itself.
One apiece. Of course, Federer, as we mentioned, just one of those hard players to read. Nice poker face. Doesn't show you anything. Can never tell if he's laboring, if he's hurting. Strange decisions, aren't there, though? I mean, again, he's so good. He's got so much at his disposal that he makes that. We're all saying what a brilliant shot that is, but definitely looking to do different things out here. A little walk down Fifth Avenue this afternoon. Walked into the Uniqlo store right in the front. Big Roger Federer outfit. The front and centre.
Did you pick up some gear?
Not this time.
And I'd say that is the first time. Now that we're really looking at Federer under a microscope, barely got out of the way of that body return, looked off balance, and then didn't make a huge effort to run for the next ball. So once again, not sure, but we're starting to look for signs just in case there's something wrong with Federer.
Millman really is growing in belief out here, and why not at the moment? They're a little subdued, the Federer fans, because their man is in some trouble. 2-1 in the third. Problems for Roger Federer to solve out here in this third set. Finds himself serving at 1-2. Millman having broken Federer on successive occasions at the end of the second. Oh, what a get! Has he made it?
Challenging the call on the right far sideline.
Don't think he has.
The ball was called in.
Federer. Oh, there's no call. wide.
15 love. Let's go.
It'd also be worth mentioning John Millman's never beaten a top 10 player in his career. He's 10 goes at it.
Well, a little too soon possibly, but boy, would this be one of the bigger upsets that we've seen. And yes, they're level, and we're talking about that just because it's that difficult to beat Roger Federer.
(40-15).
There's no question that Millman's belief has grown as this match has worn on.
Game. New ball, please.
He's the last player to beat Federer at a major that was definitely came as a surprise. I mean, I guess it always comes as a surprise, but you think back to Andreas Seppi at the Aussie, 2015, wasn't it? A reminder that USOpen.org is your online home to watch or listen to matches in real time. Follow match scores with near live highlights and dig deeper into the key stats and more. USOpen.org. Gorbis beat Federer at the French. That was 2014. A little less surprising. Gorbis was top 20 at the time.
Definitely few and far between.
Tommy Robredo got Federer. He had forgotten that. 2013.
Well, we had the benefit during the break to look at some of the data from Hawkeye for Millman. In the first set, we talked about how far back he was playing. His rally hit point was about 50%, well behind the baseline. In the second set, he was up on the baseline, dictating play a little more. Big fan of that play.
30-15.
The drive and charge off the backhand side. Difficult because you got to get on top of the ball. You can see that to drive it through. But nice pace generated. One thing we haven't seen Federer do is chip and charge with the backhand yet in this match, which I like to throw in every now and then as a variety tactic.
Yeah, that last play was a throwback to a couple of nights ago. Alex de Minaur was using that play very prolifically.
How about his movement? I thought I was watching a video game. His match against Cilic, he covered. I'd love to know the distance he covered. What a player Alex de Minaur is from Australia, the young Aussie.
Federer with just half a chance here at 30 all. That's brilliant.
40-13.
That was a great shot. And once again, Millman showing us the benefit of getting behind the ball. Great footwork.
Did the grip slip? He's suggesting it might have done.
Interesting, one of those players that's not wearing any wristbands. Some players don't like to wear the wristbands because they feel after it gets really soaked, it starts to move around too much on their arm.
Just outthought Federer there, didn't he? Leaning to the left, couldn't make the adjustment to go back the other way.
And he's done a really nice job of mixing up that second serve out wide in the deuce court. Used it at the right times.
And there's a tremendous pass. It's Millman that's in front here. Once again on serve in the third at 3-2. Well, a fair few people are coming the gates this evening expecting Federer to put on a masterclass, and with all due respect, win this one fairly comfortably, but it has certainly not unfolded in that manner. It's fair to say that he is in a scrap right now.
And definitely, he's gotten a little bit more than he was expecting. Up a set, serving for the second set, had a chance to possibly make this a routine evening, but Millman has hung in there nicely, continued to fight, and really is in with a shot right now. Federer's looked a little bit frustrated tonight.
30 love.
Ace number 7. So percentage in this third set has upped a fair bit. Fact has made 9 of 13. So put 9 of 12, sorry, to put a number on it.
That's a little bit of the offense we were talking about. He wasn't doing that in the first set. He was just laying back, being comfortable, trading ground strokes with Federer. But starting in that second set, it's been more courageous.
Game Federer.
It's a solid hold.
3 games all
from the Swiss. He's kept a lid for the most part on his emotions, despite the frustrations that he must be feeling.
Usually we see it when he's engaged in a battle like this, we see kind of the timely come-ons from Federer. We yet to see one.
$15 love. $30 love.
Unforced errors from Federer, up to 43. I mean, you got to, I guess you got to temper it a little bit because he is being so aggressive, but still a high number, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what leads you to believe that maybe there is something, because a player of Federer's caliber would have adjusted. It's one thing to be aggressive if you're pulling them off, but if 43 unforced errors midway through the third set, that's a really high number for somebody like Roger Federer.
You've got to hand it to Millman, though. I mean, he's giving him so little. Good length. He, on the other hand, has made just 21 in 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is impressive.
Again, Millman.
Well, I'm not sure I've ever seen Roger Federer sweat quite as much, and metaphorically, he's also sweating because this is a tough evening's work. 4-3. Just got half an hour left of Labour Day, and there's some labour to do here for Roger Federer, because down he is 4-3 in this third set on serve. What a challenging evening this is proving to be. Dead even in terms of that number.
That's good stuff. It's a strategy that Federer has employed very often tonight. The serve and volley behind the second serve. Did an excellent job of stabbing this backhand volley right there, but Millman once again with his feet gets behind the ball. Plenty of time to line up that passing shot.
30-15.
That's more like it from Federer on the first serve. His 8th ace of the match.
Applying the pressure with a quality return. As Federer just a little late to get to the forehand. Certainly looked that way.
Look at Steve Kerr. Won a few NBA championships in the last few years.
Game Federer.
Federer able to dig deep. He's having to work so hard this evening. Not often they're out of their seats.
Yeah, not very often you see Severin Luthi get out of his chair, really trying to encourage Roger here. Trying to give him a moment of inspiration.
And the white Daniel Troxler next to Severin Luthi. That's Federer's physio.
Maybe the most important member of the Federer team. Think about how well this man's body has held up throughout his entire career.
30 love.
Three errors in a row. Federer shakes the head. Facing the biggest server that he's ever seen either, is he? Just not able to make any inroads at all in that game.
Millman leads 5.
Millman is 5-4 to the good and a game away from a 2-1 lead. Well, we referenced the unforced error count, and it is a little out of control from Federer's perspective at the moment. Serving here to stay in this third set.
Tremendous hustle there from Millman. And even though he didn't win the point, that sends a subtle message to Roger that he's going to have to continue to hit that extra ball. Millman's not going to go away. Look at the hustle from the Aussie.
Worth remembering as well that John Millman's, I've just had a look at his career major record. He's only played 26 matches in majors over the course of his career. His win-loss record. It's a cute little drop shot. Millman's wins over Jason Brooksby in round one, the young man who won the title at Kalamazoo, which is the Junior Championships. Fanini, a match we were talking about, and Kukushkin in the previous round.
5 games, all third sets.
No problem for Federer there.
I mentioned the warm temperatures today. It's still 83 degrees, but more importantly, it's 76% humidity. That combination doesn't allow for the heat rule anymore, so there will not be a break after the third set, but you have to figure that winning this third set could prove to be fairly important for both players. And you got to think that Novak Djokovic is at home thinking, well, boys, go at it. I'm okay, play as long as you like. Although there'll be a day off tomorrow, recovery is so important for these elite players.
Oh, that is stunning.
30 love.
Federer thought about coming in, perhaps realized the forehand wasn't quite good enough, and it certainly wouldn't have been. Of course, looking further ahead, of course, you've got Cilic and Nishikori potentially in the semis, and then you got Rafa Delpo maybe in the final, so the route is an arduous one, as you would expect. First things first, gotta get by this guy.
One of the few times we've seen Federer retreat back on the second serve there.
40-15.
Errors continue to flow from the Federer racket.
Millman leads 6-5.
It's Millman
Third
that
set.
moves ahead once
1-1.
again. On serve we stay in the third. Back where I'm from, you raise your bat in cricket when you score a 50. There's no one raising his racket though for that amount of unforced errors from Federer, because it's just been untidy. He's serving to stay in the set.
Federer's challenging the call on the
Millman's going to give it to him here, I think.
The ball was called out.
He's walked back to play the point again.
We play the points.
He knew what the linesman did.
Millman is challenging the call on the left centre serve. The ball was called in. Love.
Well, they're not just catching us through the line. Oh, catching a little more of it.
30 love.
And maybe Federer
Millman
has found
two
his rhythm on the
challenges
first
remaining.
serve. Just in time.
Love. $40-15.
Could have taken that any earlier. Trying to get out of the rally with one big hit. Sense of his frustrations.
That's big hitting there from Millman. Beating Federer with pace with that two-handed backhand deep and through the center of the court.
Thank you. Please. Thank you.
Oh, Millman did exactly the right thing off the return.
You see he brushed that ball so that it would dip down nice and low. Federer going for the drop volley. Too much depth on that volley though. Millman there in plenty of time.
Third set here is within his grasp. 2 points away, Millman.
Advantage, Federer.
Tremendous scrambling, but it's to no avail.
6 games
Federer
all,
holds.
6 sets. Tie break.
And we're into a breaker.
Both players will receive an additional challenge.
Both coaches up
Ladies
off
and
their
gentlemen,
seats,
once again, please remain quiet during the
applauding
points.
their man Roger Federer. And for Millman, gotta wonder what's going through his head right now. The opportunity
Thank
to
you,
possibly
players
win
ready.
this third set tiebreak and forge ahead by 2 sets
Thank
to
you,
1
ladies and gentlemen.
against the great Roger Federer.
His tiebreak record 16-6 this season. Millman 10-12. Is it a bigger tiebreak for Federer to win than Millman right now? I mean, that would seem a strange thing to say, given the fact that...
Yeah, crazy enough, I actually think this is a more important breaker for Federer. We know Millman's not going away no matter what.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to figure out if there is something wrong with Federer, but been able to see yet.
What a pickup.
Seeing how well Millman's responded as he's won games in sets, he's really grown in confidence that you'd have to figure if he got up 2 sets to 1, we knew coming out here he had nothing to lose, but of course you have that in the back of your mind on the verge of a big win, but still no one thought he'd be where he is right now in this match.
One Federer.
That loyal fan lets you know where his heart is at. You know, it's an interesting thing too for Millman because he knows the great ones have a unique ability to raise their game when they need it most. So he has to weigh that over the fact that Federer has been missing quite a bit. So do I play conservative in this break or do I stick to my guns?
Whichever way he approached that one, he probably wasn't going to win that point. That was an outstanding forehand.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please. Three-two Federer.
They are living every moment. It was a great first volley, wasn't it?
It was. Terrific first volley. You see him saying to himself he didn't close enough. He moved laterally, and he even just said, what am I doing?
Yep.
And that's how he missed it. You got to keep pushing forward when you're at the net.
Which is so unusual for him, isn't it?
Great little self-analysis there from Roger Federer. Let us know what he's thinking.
When he break a piece here, 3-all.
4-3, Millman.
Successive points The Brisbane, man from Brisbane.
Her serve.
That's a great point. With the courage to stick to his guns.
And it's rare that you see the whole coaching box. They're up basically after every point right now. They're really trying to urge Federer through this third set tiebreak.
Millman.
And on the other side, Millman's box getting up as well. And just a little look of concern from Mirka. Oh, it was the right return there from Millman.
Left baseline. The ball was called out.
He was up on the baseline, tried to drive it deep through the middle of the court. Might have just been a fraction long, but the intent was there.
Five all.
Seeking a bit of comfort from his corner. Have a piece. Well, that was a slow first serve, 107 miles an hour. You could just see kind of Millman almost swing at it a little early.
Millman has 2 challenges remaining.
Off pace, doing the trick.
And I also saw the response from Millman after he missed that return. He looked up to his box, full conversation. There's a lot of tension here right now. And this crowd is urging Federer across the finish line here in the third set.
What a battle it's been. Set point Federer.
Please.
Courageous second serve. Can you believe he had the courage to go up the tee? Down 5-6 in the breaker on a second serve.
Pretty big as well, 100 miles an hour. That's right up there for his second serve pace.
Federer consuming a lot of liquids here.
I'm trying to think how much they've shed, these guys out here on a night like tonight. Certainly dropped a few pounds.
And just in case you weren't sure who the crowd was pulling for, you can tell by that lady's reaction.
Thank you.
Oh, Federer riding his luck somewhat. It was far from a clean forehand initially. And boy, did it work out well.
Yeah, it seemed like he got a little bit of frame off of that two-handed backhand from Millman, but it generated enough angle to give him the upper hand in the rally.
This is fantastic stuff. It's 7-all. Oh, is it good?
8.
I think it is.
7. Millman.
Well, you can kind of judge that it's good because there's barely a crowd reaction. Because basically 90% of the stadium is pulling for that man right there, Roger Federer.
Millman just unloading on 2 or 3 forehands in that rally.
Please.
There's a set point on his own serve. The upset is firmly on the cards here on Arthur Ashe. John Millman, the Australian, leads Roger Federer, the 5-time former champion, by 2 sets to 1.
New balls, please. Ball change.
Well, we've got a birthday in the commentary box because Mark Knowles started this match on the day before his birthday. It's now your birthday. Happy birthday, Mark.
Thank you, Nick. Could have think of nowhere else I'd rather be than spending it with you.
Incidentally, if you were wondering the last time Federer came back from 2 sets to 1 down, it actually happened here last year against Mikhail Yuzhny. He also did it at Wimbledon in 2016, so it has happened a couple of times, but not often he's in this position. So the question is, can he get himself out of it?
You know, he won the point there, but still, if you really analyze it, short forehand in the center of the court, he chooses drop shot. That's not usually his first option. And that's definitely back-to-back drop shots.
It's indicative of a problem, it would seem, but again, we're only speculating. Burning the midnight oil here. Could be plenty more still to come as well.
40-15.
Millman had a fair bit of time to think at that change of ends, didn't he? Got 6 or 7 minutes again.
I mean, he's drop shotting at the rate that Millman doesn't move forward well. I mean, that's a first volley that just has to be stuck deep there. Millman, of course, we've told you, moves extremely well. Not just laterally, but also forwards and backwards.
Millman's almost looking up towards his corner as if to say, what was that all about? He was able to track down a fair few of them, but the last one was an effective one.
Well, that was 4 drop shots in that game, right? 3 off the forehand and 1 off the volley.
Hawkeye giving us some numbers in overall in terms of serve speed, which is interesting. Average first serve speed for Federer, set number 1, 123. 121 in set number 2, and set number 3, 114. So he's down 10 miles an hour in terms of serve speed from 3 to 1.
15 love.
One thing to point out is the third set was his highest first serve percentage. So whether that was a strategic move or not, just because his first serve percentage was down so much,
Yeah.
or is that more evidence that maybe something is amiss with the number 2 seed?
Yeah, ground stroke speed not really altered at all for both. Remain very consistent in the high 60s throughout the course of the match.
Federer has never lost to a player outside the top 50 at the US Open. 40-0 to be exact. Right now, Millman sits at 55 in the world.
One game on fourth set.
A look at former mayor David Dinkins, why we don't hear any airplanes going over Arthur Ashe Stadium during the tournament. We do hear it in the qualifying, though.
Is that right?
Yes.
LaGuardia just about a mile or so from here.
He's had good communication going with his box. He's looked up when he's won points, when he's lost points, when he's trying to relax himself a little bit.
30 love.
Pacey second serve, 118 miles an hour. That was a roll of the dice. A few more free points, that'll be welcome.
You know, and the reason we're talking about the drop shot is generally anytime you use that shot too frequently, it's usually not an effective strategy, right? It has to be used at the right time. And going to it so often, very rare to see from Roger Federer.
There is no lost cause for John Millman. He almost found a way to drag that one back into play.
Federer leads 2 games.
Federer, though, in front. Early doors in the fourth. As we survey the scene here on Arthur Ashe once more. The man in real trouble here. 5 times Roger Federer has won this trophy. It's been a decade, though, since the last of those occasions.
Wow. You know, Nick, seeing this match now leads me, we talked at the start of this match, I talked about it, that maybe it would hurt Millman that Federer actually had a familiarity with him, having practiced with him quite a bit. But maybe that time that Millman spent with Federer has actually helped in this type of occasion now.
Sure.
Because he's spent time with him, he's practiced with him, he's been around him. Even though he's the great Roger Federer, he maybe feels a little more comfortable.
Yeah. You're not playing the name, are you? Quite so much as you are anything else.
30 love.
And there was a player on tour about 20 years ago, you'd know him, Aussie, Albert Portas. He used to be known as the drop shot dragon. Remember him? Back in the 90s. But Albert Portas.
Oh, wow. I saw him yesterday in the Players Lounge.
No.
I did.
Had a drop shot and a half on him.
40 love.
He was a good clay court player.
Nice return there from Federer.
40-15.
Millman going with the body serve there. That's the danger if you don't get depth on the body serve. It's right in the hitting zone of your opponent.
In game Millman. 2 games all 4 sets.
Steely look, isn't it, on the face of the Australian?
Yeah, he's got a little attitude to him, which you kind of like in this situation.
Absolutely.
Right? He's getting into it.
A reminder, you can download the US Open app for all the latest scores, stats, highlights, player news, and plenty more. usopen.org.
You know, Nick, we've been watching Federer so closely now for about a set and a half. You and I kind of analyzed him on the changeover. I'm going to lean more towards fatigue is the thing right now for Federer as opposed to maybe an injury. And I clearly could be wrong, but watching him trying to shorten these points with drop shots, attacking the net.
15 on.
We just saw his trainer coming down the stairs with, you see even that reaction right there. Millman's not quite sure, right? He's seen Federer play a gazillion times, most of the times on TV. He just hasn't seen this type of play from Federer.
It's just ragged, isn't it, at times? And again, it's all relative because, as you say, we're so used to expecting perfection from him, but it certainly looks untidy.
It was interesting. We saw the physio bringing down a bag of water bottles filled with ice, right? To be cooler, which I'm surprised they didn't have on the court. It didn't look like it was a special drink per se. It just looked like the regular water bottles. You know, Novak Djokovic usually has his water at room temperature. Doesn't like to shock the system with the cold temperatures. That was a half chance. The one thing I will say right now, I think Millman's getting too involved with his box. He's looking up almost after every point. He needs to, this is a huge opportunity up 2 sets. He needs to focus in. Only he can close out this match right now.
Game Federer.
Plenty still to go, you sense, in this one.
Federer leads 3 games to 2.
Millman may be in command, but he's got to finish the job. 3-2.
Thank you, players are ready.
John Millman started the year at 128 in the world. Win or lose tonight, he'll be somewhere around the top 45.
Love 15.
Win, he'll be a quarter-finalist at a major for the very first time. This, of course, the first time he's ever made the run of 16 in a major. He's acquitted himself impressively. It's a tremendous first volley because Millman posed him a stern question.
13.
It was a great stab. A little bit of light at the end of the tunnel for Federer here at love 30.
Love 14.
Wow, your first reaction from Roger Federer. You heard the little "Kumyon." First time we've seen him really rev himself up.
Break points.
15-14.
He's only broken the Millman serve twice this evening, once in set number 1 and once in set number 2. But he's done it in set number 4, and how crucial that could prove to be. Are we heading the distance here on Arthur Ashe? Federer up 4-2.
4 games to 2.
The first real signs of outward emotion from Roger Federer. And that's what great champions do. They find a way.
Thank you. Players
Interesting,
ready,
Mark,
thank
isn't it, what you were saying, and we were talking about actually at the change of ends in terms of
Love
it was horrible.
15.
Millman's emotions. Just a couple of games ago, there seemed to be a fair few distractions, didn't there?
Yeah, I felt that he was just focusing a little too much on the box. You know, I understand that this is new territory for him, but you got to really focus in on here on the court. You know, it's unfortunate, and that's the great thing about tennis. No one else can help you finish this thing off, right? It's a big moment, up 2-1 against one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest.
Federer wanting to see this again, but he won't like what he sees.
Better job there on the first volley from Federer. It's a little split step in. Nice forward momentum through that volley. Eyes on the ball. Racket head up. Excellent out in front.
Oh, it's a good close. 2 good closes in a row.
30-all.
A little more urgency to get forwards. There remains an urgency in this game. Still not out of danger.
Millman is challenging the call on the right near sideline. The ball was called out.
Slightly half-hearted call, wasn't it? Which I think possibly led to Millman wanting to see it again. Federer shaking his head.
Replay the points.
Millman, you can see just raining them down on the lines person on the far side who's done him out. He feels has caused him a bit of injustice there.
Deuce.
I'm just, honestly, I'm a little dumbfounded. I don't understand why Roger keeps going to this shot. I mean, he's got to trust his ability to hit a forehand approach shot and back it up with his volleys.
Not sure I've ever seen John Millman as amped as he is right now, which is obviously fairly understandable given what's going on. It's a touch of class.
Advantage Federer.
He's got fans far and wide, east and west, as Federer. There's majority behind him in here. There may be a few who might be a little bit blurry at work tomorrow morning.
Deuce.
Well, he's a little fortunate with that net cord there. You felt right here the point would be over. And back to the forehand side. Another sitter there that he's missed. Seen a couple of those this evening. No reaction from Ivan Lubicic.
Thank you.
That's magnificent.
Advantage Millman.
What a return initially.
Oh, you said it best, Nick. How about the quality on the return? That was a beautifully placed second serve. Millman able to lunge out and get it down low and then get balance for that pass. Got it up and down.
Perfect pace on the pass, wasn't there, as well? Very impressive.
Game Millman.
And it's a break back immediately from Millman, who once again shows his delight.
4 games to 3, 4
Right,
sets.
back on serve in the fourth.
Millman by 2 sets to 1.
Crowd's thinned out a little bit, perhaps understandably given the time, but there are still plenty inside the biggest tennis stadium in the world to see arguably the greatest player of all time, who is in a real battle. What a scramble from the Aussie. When he had no business even being a part of that point off the drop shot.
Oh, I mean, we talk so much about the number of drop shots that Federer is using, but how about the movement from Millman? This guy is tracking everything down. Nick, it leads me, I'm thinking de Minaur and Millman, and then I'm thinking Kyrgios and Tomic.
You and me both.
Who gives more effort?
Should be noted that Bernie Tomic did actually win a challenger last week, so at least that's good news for him. Ironically, at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca. So he's potentially on the up again, but we'll see. So Australia actually due to play Austria in the Davis Cup the weekend after this. Millman's been selected. Hewitt captaining the team. I believe he's going to play doubles with John Peers. So that's for another day.
Wow. Pretty impressive medal from Millman to lose his serve to go down 4-2 and then be able to break right back, not get discouraged.
Game Millman.
Especially, as you say, Mark, given the fact that, with all due respect to John, I mean, he's played on some big courts, he's played on centre court at Wimbledon, but in this sort of environment, with this much on the line against this sort of player, it's impressive.
It's very impressive.
He's played Andy Murray, in fact, on centre court at Wimbledon the middle Saturday, a couple of years ago.
You mentioned he had that practice session with Andy Murray out here on Arthur Ashe before the tournament. So maybe similar, just trying to block out the thousands of people watching. It's so funny how the narrative can change in these matches, right? We would have both thought that, hey, the closer the set gets, the longer it gets favors Federer, that he's going to win the close games. The 2 sets he's lost, it's been Millman who's played better in the big moments.
Undoubtedly challenging conditions, even at this hour. It's midnight in New York. They're still going strong. 5-4. Deep in set number 4. Roger Federer with the opportunity to just apply a little bit of pressure, he will hope, to the John Millman serve.
Well, one of the scouting reports on John Millman was that he will run all day. Granted, it's a night match. I'd say he'll run all night as well. He's looked great, doesn't look fatigued in any way.
Well, let's hope he can run all morning as well, because that's what we are now, so pretty sure he can. Critically, though, he's got to hold right here. That was a little laboured, wasn't it? Wasn't much effort to really make the space for the forehand.
I've just been so impressed with Millman, because it's one thing to stay with top players through a set, but normally towards the latter stages, that's when they separate themselves, and Millman has been able to stay right there with Federer.
The graph of quality has not wavered a whole lot, has it? Things on an even keel as Millman. And it's also worth noting, as Mark was suggesting, he hasn't actually played a whole lot of tennis coming in here. And he's been injured, the back's been a problem. He was in Cincinnati, he barely played that week. He was talking about how he wasn't even sure he was going to go to Winston-Salem. It's not like he's had a whole lot of tennis to bank prior to this particular event. After he played in Hamburg, he actually took the opportunity to go back to Brisbane for a few days. It's been a long road trip for him. He went home after playing Hamburg, which was the 500 event just a couple of weeks after Wimbledon. Was due to play Los Cabos, chose not to go there. And to Cincy, having had a week or so back in Australia.
Please. Love 15.
How's the quality of that return? 121-mile-an-hour serve. Millman meets it, drives it back with excellent depth.
took the return early, and the rewards from it were there for all to see. The alarm bells for Federer fans ringing just that little bit louder.
Well, Millman's father owns a tennis club back in Brisbane. It's about 2:38 in the afternoon. They may be having happy hour a little early today, if he's able to secure these next couple of games.
Let's just hope he's not got a lesson at 3 o'clock. If he has, they might be rescheduling. Ideal, big point, and a very important first serve made by Federer.
Ooh, that was maybe, you can see the reaction from Millman. Just a fraction tentative on that return, and the ball flew on him.
What a game. 4 points on the spin for Federer. Saves himself for the moment. Millman affords himself a smile. He's down 6-5 in this fourth set.
By 2 sets to 1.
So, John Millman, having had that very small opportunity in the previous game, Federer actually found 4 first serves in a row from love 30 to bail himself out of trouble. Put the pressure right back on the Australian.
Please. Love 15.
And that was interesting because Federer's position was an offensive one there, wasn't it? He got right in his grill. That is the first double fault of the match after 3.5 hours for Millman.
Please, ladies and gentlemen. Federer's challenge in the call. Right far sideline. The ball was called out.
That look is not a particularly optimistic one.
$15 all.
Wow, that's an excellent shot from Millman.
30-15.
His signature Federer slice backhand that draws the opponent in when they're not quite ready. But Millman, look at how well he gets up to this ball.
Even more so when you consider Federer had actually moved forward, so he was only left with the one up the line really there, wasn't he?
Exactly.
It's also worth noting with that last drop shot that Federer has now hit 35 drop shots this evening. That is the same number he hit in the previous 3 rounds.
That's incredible.
Collectively.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please remain quiet.
Once again, Federer asking for quiet from the crowd. Not something you see from Roger Federer often.
Thank you.
A little bit irritable this evening.
game's all, fourth set.
Some steely resolve from the Australian, who ensures
Both
we go
players
to
will
another
receive
breaker
an
here.
additional challenge. Thank you.
This crowd is really behind Roger Federer.
1-0 Federer.
And this is where Millman is going to have to show some resolve that maybe he's never had to persevere through before in his career. He's got to focus in here. He's got to realize the crowd's completely against him. They want more tennis. They want this man ultimately to win this match. So he's got to really focus in here now.
What a golden opportunity. Forehand mid-court.
You know, usually when you miss a shot like that, it's because you try to move forward too soon before you actually finish the shot, respecting the movement of Millman. Oh, that's a nice freebie that Millman would gladly accept. Second serve. Federer looking to put pressure on, chip and charge.
Thank you.
Double fault number 9 for the Swiss. It could prove to be a very damaging one.
Let's second serve.
Would you believe it?
Right serve. The ball was called out.
Back-to-back double faults from Roger Federer.
This is nowhere near, is it? He may want to go to the chase review, but surely just to buy himself a bit of extra thinking time here.
For 1 moment.
The wheels have come off rather dramatically in this breaker.
Thank you. Federer has 1 challenge remaining.
Incredible. You look at that number there, the unforced errors, 75 of them. And 4 in a row coming in this tiebreaker. 2 on double faults. John Millman, 2 points away from the biggest win of his career.
Thank you.
As well, remember, in his first ever
Please, ladies and gentlemen,
last 16 match at a major.
Please. Millman.
6 errors in a row from Federer, indicative of the evening he's had. But full credit to John Millman. Who is within a point of reaching the quarterfinals.
Millman.
In keeping with the match as a whole, Millman ensuring Federer has to hit one more ball to keep himself alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Millman.
Federer doing his part there, winning both of his service points.
Thank you. Players are ready. Thank you. Please.
You got this.
Oui, please.
John Millman stuns Roger Federer here at the US Open.
7-6.
The Australian makes the quarterfinals. It's the biggest upset of the tournament so far, and it's the Australian that comes through in 4.
How about the respect from John Millman? Barely a reaction after the greatest win of his career.
It's Millman that's through to the last 8. Wow. Didn't blink, did he? He just kept plugging away. Sustained such a high level throughout. You can talk about Federer all you want, and there'll be a lot of people that certainly will try and dissect this, but
quite frankly, I'm stunned. Never quite seen Roger Federer. Seemed like he was fatigued. We were speculating. But up a set, serving for the second set, and John Millman turned this match around. There will be no Djokovic-Federer in the quarters of the US Open.
The wait goes on, and the question is, will probably surface now, will he ever win this event again? You're shaking your head, Mark. It's got to think it's unlikely now, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, you look back, that was a match incredible, really.
Let's go down to Brad. And, he's with John Millman.
John, first of all, amazing match. As I saw you look up at the scoreboard, what's going through your mind that you actually just beat Roger Federer?
Yeah, I'm probably in a little bit of disbelief, but you know, I have so much respect for Roger and everything he's done for the game, and you know, he's been a hero of mine, and today he was definitely not at his best, but you know, I'll take it.
At 6-3, 5-4, 40-15 down, how much confidence did you get from digging out of that second set, and what did you feel like that you did differently to change things around?
Yeah, look, it's probably, I felt like a bit of a deer in headlights to begin with, to be honest with you. The feet weren't moving. Roger had it on a string. He was manipulating me around the court. But I got out of a tough second set and really found my feet and started to be a little bit more aggressive. I think I started to serve really well, and probably capitalized a little bit on Roger having an off-service day.
I got to ask you, as much as you were barking to yourself over the camp, is that self-coaching? You're getting on yourself? What is that like that you're kind of like amping yourself up and barking at yourself?
Yeah, look, I've read your book, actually. Look,
Did it help?
Oh, definitely. Winning ugly. No, but look, I've got to control the controllables, and I said that before I went out and played. And the one thing I can control is the fight in me. I've always done that throughout my career. It hasn't been too easy, but I've always brought the fight out, and that's what it's about when I'm kind of revving myself up.
I don't know if you've looked ahead in the draw. Next up, Novak Djokovic. What are your expectations in that match?
Last time I played him, I got 3 games at Queen's. So let's hope a few more. No, but look, I'm playing some good tennis right now. Novak's an incredible player. Just playing such good tennis right now. I think off Wimbledon, winning Cincinnati also. He moves incredibly well. You know, he's another guy that I've looked up to with his game style and the way he goes about it. So, look, it's 1 o'clock now. I probably should try to get a recovery. I've got a 7 o'clock in the morning fantasy draft, so I'm going to get up for that and hopefully have a good draft. I'm second pick. I don't know whether to go Gurley or Le'Veon Bell.
Hey, lastly, Killer Cahill wants to know, is the Fox getting on the plane?
Look, I want to kind of keep a winning thing. He's got a week of work. He still teaches to kind of fund my sister's hobby farm just about. So the Fox is at home right now, but I'm sure he'll be watching on. And look, I love my parents to death. The Fox, I love him. Sometimes he annoys me, but I love him to death. And he'll be cheering me on from home.
Kick your feet up, buddy. Get a recovery in. Amazing victory, John Millman.